Hello and welcome to this week's look at action and stunts on film and television. How are you? Glad you could join me once again. If you've listened to the podcast this week, you will know that we are looking at a particular fight from Mission Impossible Fallout. It is the bathroom fight. I always find it amusing. I know this is an aside, but obviously from an American perspective, they refer to it as the bathroom or the rest room. Very little rest is taken in a restroom, and there's no baths in these toilets, which is what they are. This one, of course, is set in a nightclub, and there have been fights in toilets on film and television for years, right? Often ending, the payoff, the punchline, is often somebody getting attacked and then ending up in the urinal as it's being flushed. That's the sort of funny payoff line. Whereas here, that doesn't happen. Also, it is the cleanest toilet I have ever seen in my entire life. And I spend a huge proportion of my time, I have to be very careful the way I word this sentence. Being in a band, I spend a great deal of my time changing in toilets, because very rarely do you find that there is adequate facilities, changing rooms, that sort of thing. That's very rarely a thing. And consequently, well, that's what happens. You end up changing in the loo and hoping for the best. 9 times out of 10, they are absolutely disgraceful. They're lovely until the public goes anywhere near them, and then when they do, it's shocking. Well, here we have an example of a toilet which is magnificent in every respect. It's absolutely pristine clean. Why? Well, because it's never ever been used and is purpose-built for the purpose of this fight. That's key, because the building of this set is massively important to the movement of the cameras and the fight choreography. And you have 2 actors up against 1 stunt performer. The stunt performer is Llang Yang. He is a British Stunt Register member, has been since 2010, and is a remarkable, wonderful example of somebody who understands choreography, and not only that, but is able to act very well as well. He delivers every blow, every look. There's a little bit of sussing the 3 of them out at the start. You will see as we have a look at the clip. I've had to cut a little bit down of it for size, but the fight itself remains pretty much intact. He is, of course, then fighting Tom Cruise. You've heard of him, right? Yeah, okay. And Henry Cavill. He's the other big dude. The Superman fella. Yeah, that's him. So he's in this. And between them, the 3 of them, they work out an extraordinarily complicated fight. The editor is saving people's lives left, right, and centre. But he's only as, and I say this, we talk about editors a lot here, as you know, but the primary function of the editor is to make the director's cuts look better. The director says, I'd like it cut here, and the editor will go, well, if you give it a frame, give it another half frame, that's your better cut, because that then leads me to this shot here. So all of that works terribly well. You've got a number of cameras being used at the same time. One major gag in this is the flipping of Llang Yang through the glass partition. And we'll have a look at it. We'll go through it, and then we'll regroup afterwards and tidy up all the loose ends. All right? Here we are in the bathroom. Everybody being, well, very sanity-wise. They're all looking after their hand washing, all going well. Then it starts. Tom dives in first, protecting his head with his elbow, look. Now, knife in the other hand. This is lovely too, because Llang Yang is not breaking his fall. Look, normally you try and put your hands down your elbows. And no, he's not doing it. His elbow may hit the floor first, but his head is the second thing that hits. Bang! Look at that. Wow. That's impressive. It really is. There's nothing on that floor, by the way, unless that floor has an additional piece of padding on it. We don't see it. They carry him into the cubicle, and then Tom realizes that your man is coming round. Oh dear. And here it starts. Huge fight then brings out, kicks him out. That may well have a little bit of padding just in between the door panel. That might be the only extra padding here. This is remarkable. Grabs him. He's got to do the full turn. So that's Henry Cavill jumping over. Llang Yang's gone over backwards. Henry's gone right over, tucks his head in. That's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's not something you can just do. It's really complicated. They would have had to have gone through that a number of times to get it right. Good punch this too. Looks like it hit him. Bang! Sold really well too. That's half the key. We know this. You've got to sell the punch. This is the twist. He throws him, and then there's a cable on his hip at this point, on his right hip, and he throws him over the shoulder. The hip cable just levers him just a touch further, spins him beyond the mirror, so he lands right on top of it. And you'll note there, of course, it's broken before he hits the ground. It's covered by all of this, the sink falling on the ground, all the glass everywhere. But that really is spectacular. A lot of people remember that fight for that moment. It is a very, very startlingly exciting moment. Gets his breath for a second, right, then grabs for it. Of course, it's broken already. We've just ascertained that. Drags it out, just hidden nicely, and goes, Jesus, and gets attacked by it. Huge amount of contact here. This is another great move, spinning around whilst being in a headlock to get himself loose, to turn back on his feet, to come upright, grab that item that's there, and then stick it around Cavill's neck and throw him to the floor. And again, just all in one really silky smooth move. This is just brilliant. Gorgeous camera work here as well, because he's thrown him to the floor. They're fighting over this piece here. There's the sort of infinity mirror going on there in the background. Here's the reload. And in he comes and kicks him back against the wall. And this sequence of punches here from Cavill and the routine between him and Llang Yang is relentless. Continual punishment going left, right and centre. He's aware of what's happening. And this is a real hair pull. And he says to him, bang, and then comes in for a real kick, real contact. Has to do that a number of times. They did it a number of times with a real hair pull. So you're doing all of this for real. He then runs at him because that far wall is now going to disappear as he gets right here. It collapses through. The whole thing falling apart. Masonry, cardboard. There's all manner of bits and pieces, that polystyrene chunks and all sorts of bits, but it gives the impression of reality. You know, you'd be really worried on a health and safety basis about fighting in there if everything you touched literally fell apart, which is what goes on here. And then, just when you think it's all going well, oh, and there is the headshot. No chance of getting a face made out of that then? Alas, no. Spectacular stuff. So, as you can see, huge quantity of stuff going on, ludicrous amount of choreography, and bearing in mind that they wanted to film that in 4 days, right? That was their plan. 4 days to film the whole thing. It's apparently not impossible. It's something that they had considered and was given the green light to do. 4 weeks later, and they are still filming it. Why? Well, you get yourself in a situation where you have the director and the star of the movie, who's also the producer of the movie, and they are perfectionists, and they want the very, very best from this fight. They've seen the other fights. They like the other fights. They are inspired by the other fights. But they want more. And they want more to the point where they just can't leave it alone. They've got to go back and do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Again. And they keep doing it. Then you've got, as I say, that moment where he is flipped. So there's a wire on his hip which flicks him in this direction, assisting him to get over the partition and land on top of it. That partition, which is sugar glass, so it is made of resin, actual sugar. When it cools, it breaks very nicely. But it can still get you, right? And Llang Yang has walked away from that fight with cuts. He's got little bits of resin in him. It's gone through his trousers because they're not wearing pads. And this is the other key function here, is that what happens on an average movie, when I say average movie, you know what I mean. The stunt guys turn up on a picture. They will be wearing pads. And they will advise the actors to be wearing pads because it's crucial. You have Tom Cruise on a picture. Tom goes slightly beyond the point where he's fully aware of the safety of the whole thing, but wants the realism. And that line between safety and realism gets blurred a lot. It gets too blurry, really. So, Llang Yang says, now, Tom, I personally, you're going to get a lot of physical hits here. Everybody is taking actual physical hits. For those moments when the camera is there and you're being got from the side, I mean, I know I have to make contact with you, but for the purpose of the camera, they can move it slightly and give it a bit more, and blind it off slightly, but you are still going to have to take a hit. Therefore, wear a pad. Wear a pad. It's going to be for your benefit. And Tom, as the actor, will go, well, I'm not so sure. And as the producer, with his two hats on, he takes his actor's hat off and puts his producer's hat on and says, no, I think I'll manage without. Now, that's one thing. But then Henry's going, what? What do you mean, no? I'm getting a beating too. I mean, you're not going to wear pads? And he goes, well, no, you won't need it. I mean, the realism is absolutely key here. Henry's already sweating because he's seen Llang Yang work, right? This guy has pinpoint accuracy and kicks like a mule. He's got that absolute pinpoint accuracy, but the power behind it is incredible. So he is going to take a knock. He's going to get a blow. Now, Tom's not doing that. Although the fireworks saying he is. I have no idea. Don't even know. Anyway, moving on. So Tom's not doing the pad thing. And now Henry's going, well, if he's not doing it, maybe I shouldn't do it either. And that's where it gets me, right? Because everybody, regardless of ability, regardless of position, should be wearing pads. What they're trying to suggest is that the audience, that's you out there, the sophisticated action movie audience, are going to go, whoa, wait. Is that, stop that, pause it. Is that a pad? He's wearing a pad. The guy's wearing a pad. Is that really? Seriously? You want to do this fight and you want us to believe that you're doing it for real, and yet that's very clearly a knee pad. What's your problem, fella? This is what we're up against. Now, I appreciate that the entire purpose of my videos is to go through stuff and find out who did what and why. But I do it because of my love for stunts in film. I don't do it to piss off the people making the pictures. I don't do it so that the whole audience are going, wait a minute, that's not real. Of course it's not real. We know it's not real. But you have to make it look like it's real in order to sell it. And I appreciate that. Make it look like it's real. There's the key. That's why you have to get... How many fights have we looked at recently? You have to get your camera angles absolutely right. Because this punch, if the camera's behind me and I'm standing in front of you, I can get away with it. I can do a cross thing here and it looks like I've hit you. If the camera's over there and I do this, you'll know I've missed. So it's, you selling it. And Tom, God love the man, he's doing his bit, has always done his bit, and produces these extraordinary films. Occasionally makes life very complicated for other people, i.e. your big lad, Henry Cavill. Henry also is not going to be the person to go, wait a second, Tom, I'm going to wear pads, even if you're not. That's not going to happen. even if he's been advised by the stuntman, advised by the stunt fight arranger, advised by absolutely everybody else on the production, only at the absolute last moment where insurance have gone, we are not covering this, and that's unlikely based on who he's with in the room. Yay, fireworks. I genuinely don't know what's happening here, but maybe there's a firework moment. Maybe it's a moment where the whole body is going, do you know, I think they might be onto something here. Let's celebrate. So that's the issue that we have. And I think the fight is remarkable. And those moments are absolutely key, and they've done what they can to get through that. But it is completely evident that without Llang Yang playing the character in this fight, the other two, God love them, but the other two would not get away with it. If that was a third actor who didn't have fight experience, who wasn't a professional stuntman, I think that's where the issue is going to happen. So to celebrate that, that's what we've done. We've gone through that fight, and we've had a look at it, and we love what's going on. And Llang Yang is the star of that sequence, no questions asked. Yes, the other two are big movie stars, but he is the business. And so, sir, we salute you. If you get a chance to watch this, thank you very much for everything you do. We love the work you do. And this is a wonderful example of you ticking every box along the way and making the heart go a bit faster as well. So well done, mate. That's sensational. Next week, more of the same. We're going to take a little look down memory lane. Down memory lane. There are some old shows from the 50s that I think are massively important that you may not have seen. I'm going to try and put a few bits and pieces together. We'll talk through them, and we will regroup next week for more of the same. So if you'd like to keep in touch with us, down there are the Linktree link. Click that and it'll take you to all of the social media bits and pieces. So if you want to go and do that and subscribe and do all the bits and pieces that you would normally do, your support is once again very much appreciated. I couldn't do what I do without you. And let's do it next week, shall we? Until then, bye for now.